We are coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3 and in your top stories at this hour. Firefighters continue to battle the blazes burning in the Eastern and Western Cape. Cabo US in Jeffreys Bay remains an area of concern as more resources are deployed to get the blaze under control.
They should review their sanctions to include criminal charges, because some of the learners are already adult, over 18.
Learners implicated in the Matric examinations cheating scandal will be barred from participating in the next 3 national senior certificate examinations. And Leo Brent Bozell III has been sworn in as U.S. Ambassador Designate to South Africa. Bozell, who is expected to arrive in the country later this month, was sworn in by Republican U.S. Senator Ted Cruz in Washington. We bring you the day's biggest stories right here on Prime News on SABC 3. A very good evening to you all and thank you for joining us. I am Beki Mutumomolete, and tonight we bring you the facts that fuel the conversation and the stories that shape our world. Let's get straight into your leads. Communities in Mossel Bay in the Western Cape are now dealing with the aftermath of this week's devastating wildfires, with damaged homes, scorched vegetation and displaced families counting the cost. At least 11 houses were destroyed on Tuesday when fires swept through Alveindal, Island View and Vacancy Plus. The worst of the flames have been contained, but teams remain on high alert for any flare-ups.
Fire lines that spread to the Noem Noem Eco Estate, Hartenbosheuwels and Sonskyn Valley were brought under control late last night. Crews are now focused on monitoring flare-ups as hot, windy weather continues to pose a risk.
If you work with an area stretched over 2,300 hectares with winds of 40 to 60 kilometers behind it, then you're in trouble. Doesn't matter how many resources you've got. But working together, the command structure that we put in place help us to limit the damage, and we haven't lost a life. So we're very grateful for that.
The coordinated response with multiple fire crews working on fire teams and aerial support helped prevent further destruction.
Thank you to our partners. Without the partners, private sector jumping in, various NGOs, the working on fire teams, other municipalities sending teams to relieve the Mossel Bay team. So it's a collective effort that helps us to limit the damage as far as possible.
Meanwhile, a fire in the remote mountainous terrain of the Tsitsikamma section of the Garden Route National Park is being closely monitored. Sandpark says more than 10,000 hectares of land have been burnt. Tanya Krause, SABC News, Mossel Bay in the Western Cape.
Meanwhile, residents of Elim in the Cape Agulhas municipality say that they are desperate for clean water following a devastating fire in the area. The fire also affected electricity supply and brought their lives to a standstill. Around 500 households have been affected. The fire started in Pearly Beach a few days ago. Residents at Elim in the Cape Agulhas municipality in the Western Cape say that seeing the fire burn so close to their homes left them traumatized. Firefighters and community members battled the blaze throughout the night and managed to prevent any property from being destroyed. But the fire damaged electricity infrastructure. It also affected the water supply, with residents left with no drinking water. Humanitarian aid organization Gift of the Givers is providing residents with clean drinking water and humanitarian aid.
Electricity since yesterday afternoon, but the electricity did come on this morning, and our water wasn't right since yesterday, and today also we didn't have water, and the water is not right to drink.
The fire around Elim affected the water and electricity, and as well they asked for assistance for the firefighters, so we have clean drinking water for each house. For each household with some non-perishable food items also, and then we have energy drinks, energy bars and energy biscuits for the firefighters in the fields.
And in the Eastern Cape, emergency services remain on high alert as fires continue to ravage some areas of the province. The raging fires have led to several national and local road closures. The N2 between Jeffreys Bay and Humansdorp remain closed, while the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro has also closed several roads. Jeffreys Bay farm owner Kalahari Hatting says that 90% of the grazing land on a neighboring farm has burned down and that they are now focusing on ensuring that nearby houses do not catch fire.
Yesterday morning onwards, the local community, the farm owners, everybody involved, even from the Tsitsikamma area, which is about 80 kilometers away, everybody just jumped in and tried and helped. And the initial focus was to just get the fire under control, and then shifted all of a sudden with the winds that picked up, it shifted all of a sudden to the homesteads, and just getting everybody in such a state that their houses doesn't burn down. For instance, this farm is about a 300 hectare farm, and 90% of the grazing has been burned down already. So we're just focusing on the houses, and up until 3-4 o'clock this morning, everybody was still involved. And I really like to thank all the guys in the area, everybody that helped. But it's difficult, and the resources, the water, it's very dry, so there's a lack of water. And we've got aeroplanes in this morning, and I believe helicopters. But I mean the bakkies and the guys with backpacks have been doing the majority of it. So it's tough. It's really tough.
On this, the South African Weather Service has issued a red felt fire warning for several areas in the Eastern Cape. These include the Nelson Mandela Bay, Sundays River, Ndlambe, Kruger and Kukama municipalities. The Weather Office says that the high fire conditions are caused by dry, windy and very hot weather. Runaway fire conditions are expected to continue until Saturday evening in the southern parts of the Sarah Baartman District Municipality and the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. When we return, 40 learners implicated in the Matric cheating scandal will be barred from participating in the next 3 national senior certificate examinations. Welcome back to Prime News on 3. We focus on this. The number of Matric candidates who participated in the act of cheating during the 2025 National Senior Certificate Final Exams has doubled from the previous year. This is according to the Basic Education Department, which conceded that the leakage of the 2025 NSC exams stemmed from its offices in Pretoria. According to an interim report released by the National Investigative Task Team today, 2 Basic Education Department officials have been placed on precautionary suspension, while 40 learners implicated in the scandal will be barred from participating in the next 3 national senior certificate examinations.
The number of learners implicated in the 2025 Matric exam cheating scandal in Pretoria has increased from 26 to 40, and 2 Basic Education Department officials have been placed on precautionary suspension.
Based on the evidence thus far, the NITT reports that the breach appears to have started with the department's secure exam paper system environment. This is where question papers are set, handled, and stored. The NITT further reports that the department official whose child wrote the NSC 2025 exam is alleged to have been involved, and that the learner shared material further.
Learners suspected of involvement or implicated by further investigations will have their certificates withdrawn and blocked.
And group copying, it's very unfortunate. We are very disappointed that, in fact, I think you should know that the number of learners who participated in group copying increased in 2025. It's almost doubled.
Despite this breach, Matric Quality Assurance Body Umalusi declared the 2025 National Senior Certificate exams as credible.
DBE should review the sanctions of exam leakages for candidates that are caught using, buying, selling, distributing examination materials. And they should review those sanctions to include criminal charges, because some of the learners are already adult, over 18.
Offenses Timo, SABC News, Pretoria.
Meanwhile, the Matric examination quality assurer, Umalusi, has given the green light for the release of the 2025 Matric exam results. Council Chairperson Professor Yunus Balim approved the results and declared it as credible and delivered with integrity.
5 Matric exam results have been given the thumbs up.
Council congratulates the class of 2025 who have succeeded in these examinations. Words of appreciation are also due to their teachers, their parents, their guardians, and all those who have supported the learners throughout their journey.
A million candidates wrote the exams across different qualifications and assessment bodies. About 17,000 wrote the IEB exams, and Umalusi gave the results the green light. Over 900,000 wrote the National Senior Certificate exams, representing about 90% of the class of 2025.
Having seen all the evidence presented, including the report of the National Investigation Task Team, the Executive Committee of Umalusi Council concluded that the examinations were administered largely in accordance with the regulations pertaining to the conduct, administration and management of the National Senior Certificate examinations.
The exam question paper leak, Umalusi says 40 learners have been implicated and their results will be withheld.
This took us by surprise, mainly because, of course, I think it's the first time we've had an internal leak. And so clearly we need to put systems and processes in place that will attend to those kind of problems.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Basic Education, Sivue Khwarube, is expected to release the full 2025 Matric exam results next week. Patricia Fasahi, SABC News in Pretoria.
ANC National Spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu has confirmed that it's all systems go for the party's 114th anniversary rally that is scheduled to take place at Moruleng Stadium near Rustenburg tomorrow. She revealed that the party is continuing to address service delivery challenges and reshuffling some of its deployees in the process. The event is expected to draw thousands of supporters for a massive celebration and political demonstration.
It's all go. As you can see, we're here at the stadium, a very freshly and well-built stadium in the heart of a township, which is augurs well for wellness and healthy lifestyles for our people, particularly the young. And we are privileged to be able to grace the stadium. And as you can see, our people putting up banners, the sound system being tested, and you already see outside broadcast vents. You can tell that the ANC is ready to celebrate its 140th birthday.
South African Communist Party National Chairperson Dr. Bladen Nzimande says that the party's continued debate on whether to independently contest the local government elections will not lead to the collapse of the tripartite alliance. Speaking to the SABC in an interview, Nzimande addressed growing concerns over divisions within the party, saying that there are differing views that need clarification as the SACP implements its resolutions, including the contentious issue of dual membership with the ANC.
The issue of raising the issues that I'm raising there is not in question because the party has never suppressed anyone from raising any views. And the views I was expressing, I was not disagreeing with the resolution of the SACP. I want to clarify that. Because now that we are raising it, I mean, I've avoided debating it in public. I would have liked to debate it in our own structures. The reason why we are raising some of those views, why I'm raising those views, is because I was of a view that there are a number of questions that we need to address in implementation of the resolution, not against the resolution, in the implementation of the resolution. The issue of dual membership, for instance, is an issue that has arisen. And now the party itself has been raising it, and then my own view was that we need to come together also to plan better and discuss how do we implement these resolutions. There are a number of our own comrades who are raising questions, for instance. I am a mayor of the ANC. I am in the district executive committee of the SACP. What's going to happen to us, you know? Those matters had been raised. It was my own view that we still need a common platform to come together and actually discuss this.
Coming up after the break, Leo Brent Bozell III has been sworn in as the U.S. Ambassador Designate to South Africa. More details to follow. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Leo Brent Bozell III has been sworn in as the U.S. Ambassador Designate to South Africa. The U.S. Embassy to South Africa shared an image of Bozell being sworn in by Republican U.S. Senator Ted Cruz in Washington. Bozell is expected to arrive in South Africa later this month. The U.S. Embassy said in a post on X that it was looking forward to working under Ambassador Bozell's leadership to advance American priorities and promote a safer, stronger and more prosperous America through continued engagement with South Africa. Bozell will formally assume his duties following the presentation of his credentials to President Cyril Ramaphosa, but the exact timeline for that remains unclear. He was confirmed by the U.S. Senate in December in a block vote of 97 nominees along party lines, with all Democrats voting against his confirmation. Bozell promised in his October confirmation hearing to communicate Washington's objectives to what he called South Africa's geostrategic drift from non-alignment. Meanwhile, the United States Senate has moved to rein in President Donald Trump's military powers over Venezuela following a dramatic U.S. operation that led to the capture of President Nicolás Maduro, an action that has sparked global condemnation and protests abroad.
A dramatic military operation by the United States in a foreign land, ordered by President Donald Trump as Commander-in-Chief and carried out with U.S. law enforcement agencies to hunt and apprehend Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. The raid has sparked international condemnation, with critics calling it a violation of international law. The action was taken without authorization from the U.S. Congress. Now, American lawmakers have moved to stop any further military action against Venezuela. The U.S. Senate voted 52 to 47 to advance a resolution that would bar President Trump from taking further military action against Venezuela without congressional approval, a rare rebuke from within his own party.
The yeas are 52, the nays are 47. The motion is agreed to.
5 Republicans joined Democrats to back the measure, which gained momentum just days after U.S. forces captured Maduro in a surprise operation in Caracas.
No one has ever regretted a vote that just says, Mr. President, before you send our sons and daughters to war, come to Congress. That is a vote that no one has ever regretted and no one will ever regret.
That has any information that the president is using armed forces against Venezuela.
I'm Batlali Pele, SABC News.
Up next, the local currency continued to hover around 16.50 against the US dollar today, although it was slightly weaker at the end of the week. This follows the rand hitting a near 3-year high against the greenback earlier this week, which has been attributed to investors selling out of the dollar and investing in emerging markets like South Africa.
The rand has been steadily strengthening over the last number of months, largely due to the US dollar itself broadly losing ground against major currencies due to concerns around the trajectory of the largest economy in the world. And this week, the rand rallied to a near 3-year high against the US dollar.
I think drivers for the rand strength has been our real rates, so our bond rates have been significantly higher than other global competitors. So that's been very supportive of capital inflows into South Africa. And in addition to that, we've had very strong commodity markets, specifically precious metals. And even though we are exporting less gold and platinum than we used to in the past, we are still seen as an export or commodity exporter.
Dollar exchange rate is positive for South Africa from an import perspective because the country imports a significant proportion of goods, with rand strength making imported products relatively cheaper. But for exporters, a stronger rand can be problematic in the short term, as that would serve to make their products relatively more expensive.
Think about the agricultural sector. A huge amount of their input costs lies in the use of diesel, fertilizer, etc. All those things and packaging costs, and all those things are closely linked to the exchange rate.
Nompumelelo Siziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.
And on that note, let's now take a look at the latest market update as recorded at 7:30 this evening. The forecasters in and our weather experts are on standby with the details you need. Let's take a look at your weekend weather prediction.
Thank you very much, and a very warm welcome to the weather desk. It is very windy over the western parts of South Africa this evening. As you can see, according to our latest satellite images, it is clear but very windy, conducive for wildfires, but further eastwards, some storm weather conditions over the eastern provinces with a 60% probability of thunder showers over the northwest, Limpopo, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, the Free States, and the western parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Otherwise, only a slight chance of thunder showers can be expected as well over the eastern provinces of South Africa. And for tomorrow, expecting even more chance of thunder showers over Limpopo in the Lowveld and Mpumalanga. Widespread thunder showers can be expected there, otherwise scattered over the central interior with only isolated rainfall expected over the western Bushveld. And the morning will also start off with some fog patches in many areas over the southern interior, especially over the western interior of KwaZulu-Natal. And for tonight, a level 2 warning of some severe thunderstorms, including here in the Gauteng province and spreading towards Mpumalanga and the western parts of KwaZulu-Natal. And wildfires overnight are possible in many areas over the western interior. And for tomorrow, we have a level 5 warning of some severe thunderstorms with heavy rainfall in the Lowveld of Limpopo and Mpumalanga. Localized flooding there is possible, especially over Ehlanzeni in the Mpumalanga province and going towards the interior. A level 2 warning is also in place there of some severe thunderstorms, a very high likelihood, but the impact will be slightly minor. But further westwards, we can still expect those conditions favorable for the development and spread of wildfires. And temperatures are mostly pleasant overnight, including over Sutherland at 10 degrees, 17 in Cape Town, 16 in Alexander Bay. Gqeberha is dropping to 18, 22 over the coastal areas of KwaZulu-Natal, 16 in Johannesburg, and a very warm 21 degrees over Musina and Liphalale in the Waterberg districts. And for tomorrow, another very hot day over Vredendal in the Western Cape at 40 degrees, a maximum of 39 in Uppington, 36 in Kimberley, 35 degrees over Bloemfontein. Johannesburg will peak at 27, and pleasant conditions are expected throughout Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and the southern parts of South Africa on Saturday. And that is all from the weather desk.
That is how we wrap up this evening. Thank you for tuning in to Prime News on SABC3. We wish you a wonderful weekend ahead. And until next time, from myself, Becky, and the team, stay informed and engaged. Take care.